Gill me more, gill me more, gill me more. That's the theme song, probably. Well, this was the Gilmore Girls episode, and joining me was amazing writer, director, comedian Taylor Coriell, and also amazing writer, musician Kyra Sims. They take me to the land of Maine. These were the only episodes of Gilmore Girls I watched, and we did this like 8 years ago. But hey, maybe you're on that nostalgia train, so enjoy.
You may love a thing that I can't stand, spiders, tofu, watching Homeland. Our interests are all varying. It's fun to be contrarian, but I'll try things that you all love to see if I can rise above. But maybe there's a chance that I just won't. So in that case, don't mind if I don't.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. Hey, I'm your host, Aaron Gold. This is the show where I don't like things, and fans and experts come on and try to expand my horizons a little bit. Try to show me why I'm wrong so I can enjoy the things that they love and care about and mean the world to them. Like the Gilmore Girls. The Gilmore Girls, is it just Gilmore Girls or the Gilmore Girls?
It's Gilmore Girls.
Gilmore Girls.
Correct.
All right. Well, I've got two fans of this show that I've never given a shit about. First up, actor, writer, and producer of web series You're the Pest, which actually I'm in.
Huzzah!
Taylor Coriell is here.
That's me.
Hi, Taylor.
Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Takeo.
What's up, Ego? That's
That
what we
works.
call each other.
You never really call me
I
Ego.
definitely call you Ego. You're just never listening.
What? Also joining us, we have writer, musician, and member of the New York Neo-Futurists, Kyra Sims.
Hey, what's up, Aaron?
Hey, Kai Sim.
Don't call me that.
We don't have that same kind.
How dare you?
Kai. Hi, Kai.
Kyra.
Call her Kyra. That's
My name's already so short.
It's true.
You can't be shortened anymore. That's
just like
just
giving nicknames.
gilding the short lily.
Boom.
I'm gilding that lil.
Wow.
All right. So everything on the
going
show
well.
gets rated on a scale of 0 to -10. 0 being ambivalence, -10 being blood-curdling hatred. Before
Oh my God, I'm
this,
so nervous.
you guys gave me about 8 episodes to watch, even though I requested only 4.
Look.
I watched,
I'm sorry.
let me see, about 6 of them.
Wow.
Aaron. It's because he's hooked. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, go on.
Before I watched any of them, I was at a -2. You know, I just really didn't care. The actors seemed good, but you know, I wanted to be made to care. However, after watching 6 episodes, I'm now at a -6.
No.
Okay.
I see why others like it, but I don't like it, and it's not for me. And fuck this town. Fuck this little town
Nope.
where all their little problems.
We're going to show you
I don't care.
all the places you're wrong.
I will say this straight off the bat. Lauren Graham is amazing.
We know.
That I'm not going to argue against her even the slightest bit. Without her, the number would be much higher. I wouldn't.
It might be 11.
It could be
-11.
It could
Coffee.
be.
All right.
Okay.
She is fantastic and the perfect person to lead this show. And the fact that she's not doing more on screen right now is a national travesty. Okay.
No, definitely agree wholeheartedly.
Yes.
Great.
We can start there from
Yeah, we
common
start
ground.
just talking about Lauren Graham.
Boom, boom.
So let's just talk about this a little bit. First of all, I blacked out. I was supposed to take a drink every time they said the word coffee, right?
That was a
Because
game
I did
that we
and then I
pitched.
got drunk immediately.
Yeah. Oh, you were supposed to take a drink of coffee.
Oh.
But I think
Okay,
then
I did
he
that,
would have
and my
been
heart exploded.
Yeah. He'd be dead. We would not be recording this podcast.
That's
Well,
very true.
What is with the coffee in this show? Why do they love coffee this much?
I mean, who doesn't love coffee? One.
Yeah, I love it, but I don't say it every third sentence.
I think it's just like a quirk.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how fast they speak. You know, they have so many thoughts in a given day that their WPMs have to be at the peak. And what's going to get your WPMs up? Coffee.
That's true.
No cream though. No
Actually,
dairy.
so most scripts for like hour-long dramedies or whatever are like 40 to 60 pages ish. Regularly, the scripts for Gilmore Girls were in the 60 to 80 range.
Yep.
Because
So
they
that's why
talk
they had to
so
keep going.
fast.
All right.
Yeah. And actually, I will say that Alexis Bledel did not like coffee. And so regularly, whenever she had a cup of coffee, it was actually Coke because she hated the taste of coffee.
Yep. Or sometimes the cups are just empty.
Yeah, they're really bad.
They
They're
are so
really bad about pretending
bad.
those cups are full.
But I want to spin it for the sake of this episode. Spin it as a fun little
it's like a fun
Easter
little
egg.
Yeah, you're like,
that
ooh,
you
is there
can
something
catch.
in there?
Like, oh, are they just tossing around their cup of coffee that they just got handed?
Did they
from
finish
Luke?
drinking it?
And
could,
they're
you
just
know?
carrying it around. No, it's just
Yeah.
an empty cup that Properties gave them
Aside
right
from
before
my
that take.
opening arguments and our coffee mysteries, why do you guys like this show? Because it seems like it's a cultural staple, and that I can see why people like it. I don't see why it has the following it does.
Well, maybe we should talk about how like our individual journeys
Please.
to the Gilmore Girl world.
Okay. Well, I'll go first. So I thought of two. I knew you were going to ask us this question, so I thought of two things because it's really true. So I just identify a lot with this mother-daughter relationship, and I think that that's how I find other Gilmore Girls fans that I can like talk to about the show, because I have such a close relationship with my mom. It was just me and her when I was growing up, and I just really think that because family is such a huge part of the show, just like how families fit together, the uncomfortable history that families can have, and how you still are devoted to each other, how blood just ties people together, I think is so important. It's such a staple of the show. It always comes back to family. And so I just really identify with the people in the show. I love the town. I feel like they're such specific people in the show, and I feel like I know them. So that's one reason I love the show. It's just that I feel like I know the people and I identify with them a lot. And two, I think the writing is incredible. I think Amy Sherman Palladino is one of my favorite writers, along with Aaron Sorkin and Nora Ephron.
Also,
Yeah, there's a pattern there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, the writing is very solid. The small town vibe, God, it pissed me off. The episode where the living art.
Oh,
one?
Living Art. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my favorite episode.
When Suki is walking down the street with Lorelei and she's pregnant, and then just this person in town is just like, "You haven't had your baby yet?" Ugh, and then walks away. I would have been like, "Hey, Gil, fuck you. You don't get to talk to me that way. I don't care how long we've known each other. Go fuck yourself, Gil."
But
That
that's
would have
not what
bothered me.
Suki would have done. And also, where did you grow up again?
In a small town called Binghamton, New York.
Oh, you grew up in New York, though. I grew up in Kentucky. Like, people are all up in each other's business.
so much
Oh,
so.
my gosh. Yeah, you're all in everybody's business. Everybody talks about everybody else. They know everything
Yeah.
that's happening in your life. Well, like, welcome to, like, the South.
Well, welcome to why I'm not living there. But Kyra, why do you like this
Oh,
show?
sure. So speaking of mother-daughter relationships, I really tried to get my mom to watch Gilmore Girls with me, and she said no.
Oh, no.
Smart lady.
I mean, I have a fine relationship with my mother, but I'm more related to the Lorelei and Emily mother-daughter relationship where they love each other, but they just really do not understand each other at all. And seeing that dynamic on television dealt with so well, where you feel for both of them at given times. You know, Emily isn't always just evil, and Lorelei isn't always just
Mom of the year.
a mom of the year or an ungrateful brat or
Sure.
anything like that. They both have depth to their relationship that they bring, and sometimes you really see some very tender moments, and sometimes you see like some of the best fights I've ever seen on TV. Like, watch out, WWE, right?
Definitely true. But also, I will say that as the show progresses, like Lorelei and Rory kind of go through that breaking point that a lot of moms and daughters have. And my mother and I, if she ever listens to this, hi mom, but like we definitely had that same thing happen to us. And I think that I can, as I've grown with the show, because I started watching it when I was like 15 or 16, like the same age Rory was in the first season, you know. And as I watch it, I used to identify with Rory, and now I identify more with Lorelei as I get to be closer to her age. And you see like the mistakes that you make as a 34-year-old, you know, as opposed to the mistakes you made when you're a 16-year-old. I can only imagine that as I get older, I'll understand Emily more. I already do when I go back and watch the show. And I think like in the scene in the mall episode that I don't know if you watched that.
We're going to
episode.
get to that. Actually,
Yeah.
the episodes I watched.
Oh yeah,
okay, it's okay.
I want to write
It's
down
so
which ones you
exciting.
watched.
The episodes I watched.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the pilot.
Good.
And I watched the the 8th episode. Which one was that one?
Love and War and Snow.
Yeah, Love and War and Snow. Which my only note for this one was, look at these old white people eating pizza. How wacky is this? I watched season 3, episode 7. They shoot Gilmore Girls, don't they? Ugh. Why the fuck would anyone do a 24-hour dance marathon wearing heels? You fucking idiot. I watched season 4, episode 2, Lorelei's first day at Yale. And my very first note for this was, I am so done with this. Because it feels
Wait,
like
which episode?
Lorelei's first day at Yale.
Oh, yeah.
Season 4, episode 2. Because the comedy is just so fucking gentle. And I will say, Rory's breakdown, calling Lorelei after Lorelei leaves her, was the first time I really liked Rory.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to get into that. I don't.
Fuck Rory.
Yeah, I don't like Rory.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, and watching a character I don't like fail at things is very satisfying.
Yeah, in the first episode,
and when she
says,
starts to just kind of fail and downward spiral, I'm like, yes, just go. Just be a better person, Rory. Just be a better person, Rory, and maybe your life will not be ridiculous.
Speaking of which, on the very first episode, I wrote down this quote. I know his name is Jared Padalecki, but I'm just going to refer to him as Supernatural. Rory
Acceptable.
said, maybe I'm just self-centered. And Supernatural says, maybe. I doubt it. Quick question. What was the storyline to A Day in the Life again?
What do you mean?
A Year in the Life?
A Year in the Life? Yeah. What's that storyline? Doesn't she
well, I mean, it's
cheat on
for
everybody?
1.5 hours of...
Wait, did you watch A Year in the Life?
No,
Yeah,
but I heard that Rory goes off the rails and cheats on her husband or something.
Or no, her
she doesn't have a husband.
Logan is cheating on his fiance with Rory.
Still not great.
Oh,
okay, no. Well, we're going to go into this now then, because I think a lot of what I love about the show is how honest the mistakes are and how you can look at them. Hold on. I see Aaron is on the verge of speaking to our listeners. Great. There are a lot of mistakes made in the show. People say things that they shouldn't say to people. They do things that they should not do. And I think one of the best things about the show is that none of those mistakes are glorified. Everybody talks about them. They acknowledge that they're mistakes and then they move on. I think one of the great things about the show, other than family being a recurring theme, is the theme of forgiveness. And I think that ties so heavily into this idea of exploring what family means, that forgiveness is a choice and forgiveness is about an acknowledgement of who you are as a human. And I think, Logan shouldn't have been cheating on his girlfriend. And I actually do know what he was referring to because there's that running joke of her boyfriend that she keeps forgetting about.
No,
and she keeps forgetting to break up with him.
I completely forgot about that boyfriend.
Yeah, no. She has a boyfriend in A Year in the Life that she keeps forgetting to break up with.
Hilarious.
I mean, it is kind of fun.
Oh man, I didn't really want to talk about Year in the Life on this episode.
We don't have to because I didn't watch it.
Well, but also if you talk about it Amy Sherman Palladino and Daniel Palladino weren't writing on it after season 6 because the WB wouldn't basically long story short, wouldn't give them the money or the deal that they really should have had. And so eventually, Amy picked her showrunner who followed her, and he had been a staff writer or the head writer on before seasons 1 through 6 or something. So he wrote a lot of season 7, which is why it kind of feels like it's right, but it's a little bit off. And then of course Year in the Life does come back, and it is sort of pandering to the fans, but I do feel like she left it open-ended. But at that same time, it feels like...
Did she write A Year in the Life?
She did. She and Dan both wrote A Year in the Life. And, if you listen to her talk about it, she's like, I could write for them for 40 years. It's just that the WB wouldn't. It's the WB or the CW? I think it's the WB.
It was the WB.
It was the WB back then, yeah.
They wouldn't give her the time to write for them that she really wanted to.
Yeah, and I think because there was that huge gap of time, though, that, maybe if she had kept going back then, she could have written for them for 40 more years. But with that gap... I think where she decided to put them after that, what was a 10 year gap, it just wasn't very believable to me. Because Rory had so many downfalls before that, and kind of ended up in just such a weird place. I get it. I'm in my 30s now and don't have my life together, but and
you didn't find that relatable?
Yeah,
you didn't find that relatable?
not in the way they did it, because she had so many good contacts that I feel like by the time she got to her 30s, maybe.
But she just wasn't being smart about it.
Yeah, she wasn't being smart.
She can be a little bit of a wet noodle sometimes, I think. You know what I mean?
That's true.
That's something that's always, I mean, I definitely, Lorelei is the what is the
saving
word?
grace of
yeah,
the show.
sure. Yeah, thanks for saving me. I don't know. Like, yeah, Lorelei's definitely the best.
Yeah, but I wanted to go back quick about the they shoot Gilmore's, don't they?
Oh,
episode. Yeah. One thing I like about the town is that there are like some little sprinkles of magic realism in there where, yeah, like people will dance for 24 hours.
I love it.
In heels, and it makes no sense. And then they'll say, oh, hey, let's put on this festival. And like 2 days later, they have like this, all of the decorations and like complicated booths and all of this stuff set up. Like it's a town that like works on a different timeline.
No, and like, listen, it lives by sitcom rules, and I'll give it that.
Sure.
Like, I'm not.
I mean, they're not going
to.
to let Lauren Graham dance in flats. Like, I'm sure Lorelei would have been sensible enough to dance in flats, but
because she was very competitive.
Yeah.
Right. The other two episodes I watched were the Living Art episode, episode 4, season 4, episode 7, and season 4, episode 15, Scene in a Mall. Before I watched Scene in a Mall, this was at a -7.
Okay.
Scene in a Mall brought it back down to -6.
Okay, what about that episode?
Emily was great. The relationship was great. The whole food court scene was amazing. The strong ending of that dinner scene of like this marriage that is falling apart of these two people that just can't communicate. I thought that was very, very well done. So like if all of the episodes I had seen had been on that caliber of just tightness, I think I'd be a lot more on board with it. But the comedy throughout this is so gentle. Like, also, it makes Sean Gunn annoying as fuck. I like Sean Gunn. I like him a lot. Without him, Guardians of the Galaxy wouldn't have been as great a movie. Like I, as a big, proud Marvel nerd, Sean Gunn a lot.
Sure.
And this made me go like, God damn, Sean Gunn can't do shit, but I know he can.
Oh, he can. And Kirk's character has a big payoff.
Who's Kirk?
Kirk is Sean Gunn's character.
Okay.
Kirk has a big payoff at the end. Is this a spoilery episode, or should we?
You know what? Hey,
why not?
Yeah, spoilers.
Okay.
The show's been out for 30 goddamn years. You're fine.
Okay, so
you're
so the whole goof about Kirk having every job in town, always applying for jobs, wanting more jobs, and also penny pinching all the time pays off big at the end where he buys like a mansion in the town for like what, $500,000 or something like that. He pays for it in cash. And it's this big plot
He has
point.
a great arc over the course of the series, which is funny because I don't even think he was supposed to be kind of like this recurring character.
Yeah, no, he had a different name in the pilot.
That's what I was gonna say. It was Mitch or something.
Mick.
Was
Mick. That's it.
He also the one in that that was just like, oh yeah, my girlfriend, guys, my girlfriend.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's him.
Yeah.
See, I would have thought, I was watching these episodes again yesterday, and I was sitting here being like, okay, well, one thing I can talk to Aaron about is that I feel like there's just like little golden comedy nuggets in there, because every episode that Kirk appears in, he's playing a game.
Yes, and you know what? You're completely right. But then here's where they lose me. They do it to death. Like, okay, every time he speaks, he's going to mention, oh yeah, my girlfriend, and that's the bit. You know what? Funny. I can get behind that. You know where it loses me? Maybe around the 15th time he says it. In checking my watch, 45 seconds.
You want him to heighten that game a little bit.
I want him to do anything else. I want some variety in my comedy, because it feels like, because they have all this dialogue that they've got to cram into this quick amount of time, it's going to be snappy. I feel like if you lost maybe a quarter of the jokes of you repeating the same joke, it would land harder. Leave room for the silence, because silence can be comedy.
I mean, I completely agree with you. And like, as a writer, learning to find where silence is important. You have to learn where to have silence because it highlights something that's important.
Yes.
But I also think, and maybe I'm looking at the episodes we gave him to watch, and I'm like, maybe we just didn't pick the episodes that really encapsulate the it factor of Gilmore Girls for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you go but look at Scene in a Mall, like that that scene at the end with the apples and the marriage that's falling apart, I feel like those moments are in there in the series. And so you have this fast-paced dialogue, and that whole scene, there's maybe 4 lines in there.
Very slow.
And
but
that's the thing is
done.
exactly.
So well
but
done.
if the rest of the show wasn't boom, 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 boom,
Those
then
wouldn't land
those
as
wouldn't
well.
land in the same way. That's the drama of this particular dramedy, is that like, and maybe, you know, it's hard to pick episodes out of the middle of a series
Yeah.
because it's like listening to an album out of order.
And here's where I counter that. Aaron Sorkin
Sure.
does have snappy dialogue, but it's not constant. It is not a 100% or a 95% of the time constant.
Sure.
He knows how to use silence. And those moments still land really, really hard.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what Taylor was saying. There are moments, but maybe we didn't.
Maybe we
choose
didn't-
the right ones.
maybe
for
we
it.
didn't choose the
there's
right
a whole
ones.
one of my favorite.
Because if you liked Scene in a Mall and Scene in a Mall pulled you back from a 7 to a 6, then I'm sitting here thinking
yeah,
like
but I think we just
maybe-
gave you the wrong. Like one of my favorite Emily moments is later when she and Richard actually separate for a while, and she goes on a date with a man, and it goes really, really well. And he drops her off, and she closes the door, and she has a smile on her face, and then it's just this beautiful transition from smiling to just sobbing in her entryway. And there's no there's no text. It's just her alone in her big house sobbing.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
Mhm.
And so there are, like Amy Sherman Palladino does know how to use silence. I mean, maybe she could use it more. Like, you know, she's growing. And she definitely has like her shtick that she likes. Have you watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Not yet.
Oh, like I'm
Aaron,
so
how dare you?
like my
I
like
told you to watch
once
that.
I also know people on that show. I should.
once you watch Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I think you'll have a maybe a deeper appreciation for Gilmore Girls, because if Amy Sherman Palladino hadn't written Gilmore Girls, I don't think Marvelous Mrs. Maisel would be half as good, because she. I mean, I almost feel like going back and rewatching, I always feel like she wanted Lorelei to be like a Jewish comedian.
Probably. Oh yeah,
Kind of
definitely.
There's a
jokes.
lot
Yeah.
of there's a lot of non-Jews doing Jewy stuff. And there's
Yeah.
a lot that I felt like I related to, that I felt like, I don't know if you guys are going to relate to that, like at the TV.
Sure, yeah.
Which I didn't really pick up on until after I watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. But
Yeah.
I think that is the show that Amy Sherman wanted to write. Maybe during Gilmore
Yeah.
Girls time, but it wasn't.
The right time yet.
It wasn't the right time.
How do we feel about Alexis Bledel? Because I believe that she is a 5-year-old on stilts.
Look. Okay. Here's the thing about Alexis Bledel. So apparently she was, when she started shooting this, she was like 18 or 19, and she was a filmmaking student at NYU Tisch. And they were scouting for people because I guess they had already found Lauren Graham, but they knew they had to have somebody who looked dead up, like she could be Lauren Graham's kid. And they found her. She was a filmmaking student, not even an acting student at NYU Tisch. And they pulled her out and they were like, hey, come do this, which I guess like welcome to the 2000s. Like, it wasn't like it is now. But so like that's how she got it. She never really acted. And for the first like season, you notice them walking arm in arm a lot, or sitting like really close to each other or something like that, because Alexis Bledel had no idea what to do on camera. Like Lauren Graham had to like hold her by the arm and like help her like move around, because she had no idea how to act on camera. So like that is completely founded. She had no idea what she was
and
doing.
she's very mumblecore in the first season.
Ooh,
Yeah.
mumblecore. Yeah,
Yeah.
good word.
It really wasn't until her breakdown at her mom leaving her at Yale that I was like, oh, there's your acting.
Yeah, she has
Oh,
a
this
very
is good.
strange way of speaking. Like, you know, I'm not a huge Drew
Like a
Barrymore.
5-year-old on stilts.
Sure, yeah.
Well, is English her first language?
Oh,
Alexis
I
Bledel.
think so.
I think. Well, maybe I could have it wrong, but I know she also is a Spanish speaker. Like,
oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Heavens.
Yeah, she's bilingual, but I don't remember.
How Rory of her.
Right.
No, I like the character of Rory. In a way, I think she's kind of like this wet noodle a little bit, you know. And part of me is like, was it written that way, or is it just Alexis Bledel? And she does grow into it a little bit more, but it's almost like I was going to say something about Drew Barrymore earlier, where Drew Barrymore kind of like makes no choice. Like she makes the anti-choice of anything she ever does. I'm not a huge fan. And I feel like that's kind of what Alexis Bledel does. Like she says her lines in a way that like nobody speaks.
Yeah,
there's nothing behind that.
I don't have a problem with Alexis' performance. It's more the character that I don't like.
Yeah.
I think she has a very high opinion of herself. I think, I think when people don't agree, it just messes her up way more than it should. I get, you're a kid, you're growing up and you've lived in this town where everyone worships the fucking ground you walk on. And then you are like, oh, I got a D on a paper, I'm falling apart. It's, and some of it is believable and relatable, and some of it, like when she gets to Yale and is just so stressed about having to drop a class, and has this breakdown, like, I just can't. And it's like everyone else is like, this is not a big deal at all, and she's like, no, but it's everything.
But for me, that kind of stuff was like a big deal. Like, and I guess that's just like a personality trait of mine, is just that I really am a perfectionist, and I'm not as smart as Rory, but like at all. But, I really did identify with that aspect of her, of needing to make really good grades and needing to like, live up to my mom's expectations, and not like, Lorelei ever expected anything of her that she couldn't do. And neither did my mom. My mom's expectation of me was always that I would make the grades that she knew I could make. And so that's what I tried for, but I always wanted to please her, and I always wanted her to be proud of me.
Yeah, I will say though that this is a new opinion of Rory.
New opinion on old show.
As a 31-year-old woman now, looking back, where now I'm at a point in my life where I get that things don't matter as much as I think as when I was Rory's age, those things didn't matter too. But that's what's kind of fun about going back, to having new opinions on an old show. I'm like, oh man, I'm so glad I'm not 20 anymore.
Oh my God, so true. Wait,
crap.
when did you start watching the show?
When I was in high school, because I was a fan of the Shins, and the Shins were on the spring break episode.
Oh, that's true.
Paris we haven't even talked about
Girls
Paris
doing
yet.
the twist. Oh my God,
that
Paris
is
Geller.
The only time I consistently like Rory is when she is with Paris.
Which one's Paris?
Paris is the blonde, very intense.
There's Lane.
Did we give you an episode with?
I don't think
so.
No, we did, because I watched them yesterday. Paris is the blonde girl. Who goes
her.
To,
Yes.
Yeah, Liza Weil.
The super uptight white girl.
Yeah, she's on How to Get Away with Murder.
How to Get Away with Murder.
I believe that.
Yeah. There wasn't a good Paris episode that we gave him, but she was in one of the ones, because it's after they go and do like student senate or whatever, and she meets Jamie, and then Jamie goes off to Princeton, and he comes back and he's like holding her hand, and she's like, let go of my hand.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So cute.
Which was a little bit rapey. I felt like, again, the comedy is so gentle, and I'm not. I feel like it is the perfect play in the background while you're doing laundry show. Because if I looked up and realized, wait, what are they talking about? I missed this entirely. Fuck it, I don't care. Like, I'm not invested enough in any of them, in any of the townspeople. This is the most annoying I've ever found Melissa McCarthy. And I love Melissa McCarthy. I think she is one of the most underrated actors alive.
What do you find annoying about her?
Lack of depth. I feel like her character has a lack of depth, and part of what makes her such a strong performer is that even when she's just doing like comedy,
the commitment.
There is so much commitment. There is so much behind her eyes. One movie I fucking love that a lot of people don't, that I think she's just so good in, is The Nines. Which
I haven't seen that.
Most people haven't. Ryan Reynolds, Hope Davis, Melissa McCarthy, 3 different stories with those 3 actors each playing different roles, and then they all tie together somehow. That's the most I can explain this movie without ruining it, but it's fucking great, and she is on another level.
I mean, she's killer.
She's killer, and I feel like she's so good that if you can't make her so engaging and electrifying on screen, then you didn't write her right.
Yeah, that wasn't Alex Bernstein originally going to have that role.
Yeah. Well, actually, Alex Bornstein's in the pilot.
She is.
She's the harp player.
The Drella.
Yeah, but I don't remember why.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And then Drella just like fell off the face of the earth. It was so sad.
Yeah, that was a good character.
Drella, the harp player.
I remember. She was just mean for no reason. That was her character.
She's cranky.
She's cranky.
You don't know. This is the thing, Aaron. you don't know people like any of these people in the town of Stars Hollow. You can't look at like people that you know here and say like, you have like a crazy personality quirk. So do you. So do you. They're just they're just heightened versions of people that you already know. And that's what I love about the show. They're heightened versions of people you already know.
Yeah, I know a cranky harpist. And she's very cranky.
She
Harps
knows
are
a
heavy.
literal cranky harpist.
Harps are fucking heavy and they're really hard to play.
I'm not denying that that might be realistic or that these could be like real people that are just exaggerated slightly. I'm arguing that it's not entertaining. Like the real emotional stuff. Like, okay, yeah, the scene in a mall, that one really got me. Well, as opposed to the Living Art episode.
I will say that's my favorite episode because the living art is so well done.
The living art is very well done.
Yeah.
Granted, I felt like this is where the comedy faltered the most. Like, Christ, he hates the guy playing Judas. Get it. Beat you over the head with this dumb bit that we don't ever have to really back up with anything. Like, again, if you can make Sean Gunn annoying to me, then fuck you. Like,
okay, so what I'm hearing is I'm trying to suss out what it is, like where this common ground can be found. Because
Okay.
I think what's bothering you about the show is that you don't feel connected to the people in it.
you know what? Yes.
Okay.
It's like baby West Wing. It's like West Wing.
I
Except
love
you're moving.
how you're pulling Aaron Sorkin into this.
No, because
He's a
I
genius.
noticed the snappy dialogue. There was a lot of similarities, but each of those characters has a depth to them that I believe
And
in
what
the West
Aaron's-
Wing, and I don't.
And you've
believe
watched
it
a lot of
in-
West Wing?
I have. I watched.
Did you watch The Newsroom?
I did. I watched all the Newsroom. Loved it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I didn't think it was perfect, but the moment that I've rewatched time and time again is when I forgot his name, but the guy's walking into the office singing "Anything Goes."
Oh
talking
yeah,
about,
and the FBI
swearing.
is in there.
And it's just like, yeah, it's a song just talking about like, oh yeah, you know, people swear so much nowadays, but oh well. Then he takes his headphones off, and the FBI has raided him, and just goes immediately from da 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 to what the fuck?
Yeah, so
it was
good.
just such a good what the fuck.
It's such
so
a good
powerful.
moment. Yeah.
I guess I had to be there.
Oh, sorry.
There's-
Sorry
yeah.
to hop off the Gilmore Girls train there.
But anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I don't feel like the characters have the depth and emotional reality that I need to laugh at
See,
them.
and this is where I think it might be useful for you to really truly watch this. Maybe we should have told him to watch like the first 7 episodes instead of our favorite episodes.
The first episodes were the ones I liked the least.
No, but you didn't watch them connected. It's just
Yeah, I think this is a show
You have to
where
grow with them.
if you don't grow with them, you miss important key parts of them where they might not always circle back to that event that happened to them that really defines them. It just continues to, that knowledge continues to be under the surface.
yeah.
Like
All right, that's fair.
The
Yeah.
way that the whole just premise of the show is that, you know, Lorelei gets pregnant when she's 16 with Rory, and she's grown up in this extremely wealthy, extremely prestigious family. And in the time, you know, in the early 80s, I guess, which is when Rory was born, you know, if you got pregnant when you were 16, you're supposed to get married. And Lorelei said no. And she said, and she even has a moment where I think it's in the pilot where,
Yeah.
you know, they bring up Christopher and she's like, I am living a lovely life, mother. Christopher wouldn't be doing anything he's doing now if it wasn't for the fact that we didn't get married. I have a lovely life. I love my kid. I might not be, you know, where you and dad were when you were my age, but I don't care because otherwise I wouldn't have had Rory. And I think there's something so like beautiful. Oh, it's going to make me like emotional.
But yeah, and then going back to a character that you found annoying, Kirk, his is such a slow burn, like his growth. And you really have to see it like the big picture of Kirk's growth, where I definitely see like individually, maybe the writing could have been tighter, maybe there could have been more heightening, but you see him, he starts multiple businesses, he's like building up a life for himself, like he lives with his mother. And it's a really terrible situation that gets brought up sometimes where he's very unhappy there. He's very lonely. He tries to go out with Lorelei in a very like heartbreaking way. And then, you know, and then he starts to date Lulu, and he's just convinced that she isn't gonna like him. And he like, in fact, like leaves the table multiple times so that she has time to escape.
On their first date.
And then she doesn't.
And then she doesn't, she stays. And he has this conversation with Luke, this lovable, grumpy, diner owner. And Luke is sitting there being like, maybe it's because she likes you. She doesn't want to leave, Kirk. And you just have this lovely, tender moment for this dweeby weirdo.
Yeah, so you see, like, he's aware that he's weird and annoying. And like, so that whole scene like gives you this backstory that he has been on dates where women have just
he goes to the bathroom and he comes back and they're not there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Luke for a second. Cause,
Yeah, let's do it.
My roommate, when he saw that I was watching Gilmore Girls, and he was like, how you liking it? I'm like, I'm not. And he goes like, you're Luke.
Oh
That's why
my
you brought the
gosh.
outfit.
Yeah. No, I admit
you are a little bit of a Luke.
I'm a bit of a Luke when it comes to things like this.
This explains so much.
It really
Aaron.
does. I mean, it explains the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This podcast is called Don't Mind If I Don't. Literally
with Luke Danes.
Oh, with Luke Danes. Jeez Louise.
I'm trying, but oh my God, so much
And
of
Luke
this
tries.
is stupid. Yeah.
Luke does try. And you know what?
What is the deal with him and Lorelei? Like, are they?
You want to know the whole
Do you
thing?
want to know the whole story?
I'm assuming it's a will they, won't they, and then they do for a little bit, then they don't, and then they finally do.
It's
Am I right?
Am
I right?
Wait, so say
Okay,
it again.
that's a complicated.
Yeah.
That's a really loaded question. I mean, we could take another 30 minutes talking about.
Well,
the
we don't
Luke
have
and-
that time.
I know, that's why I'm, pressing with that.
No, it is kind of a will they, won't they, because that's just how TV works and TV writing works.
But how TV writing works is will they, won't they? They do for a little bit. Something goes wrong, and then they don't, and then they do. Show
Okay,
over.
so
Is
long
that
story
how this
short-
works?
Sorry, spoiler alert. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
But don't say of course. Like, I mean, when you're invested in two characters who really should be together, despite the fact that like they have big issues that separate them throughout the show, like you want that payoff. Like, and like,
I'm not going to deny that. And granted, like it's a lot different for me to reflect on Gilmore Girls now versus watching it as it came out and being on that.
I didn't even watch it as it came out.
All right, then. Well, just me trying to get into it now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that formula because there's so much within that formula that you can play with.
And
And
it goes back to forgiveness. It goes back to that thing of forgiveness. It goes back to that thing of making honest mistakes.
Yeah, and
wishing you hadn't.
communication. Like I feel like their relationship teaches so much about how to advocate for yourself in the relationship.
Absolutely. And
Ooh,
what
that's
you
pretty
need.
good.
Yeah, because there's a part. What season is that? Season 5?
Tell me
or
the
is it-
situation and I'll tell you what season.
with Luke's daughter.
Oh
comes in
yeah.
and
I
that
think
whole-
it's season
Or
it's
6?
late season 4, I think, that she
Oh,
comes
maybe.
in and then season 5 maybe.
Yeah.
It's one of the definitely in the later half of the series.
Yeah, where Luke finds out he has a 12-year-old daughter, and
And the woman that he had been dating hadn't told him.
yeah, and
Because he wasn't ready.
Yeah, and he decides to first keep it a secret from Lorelei. At this point they're dating, and
They're
then
engaged.
They're engaged
At that
Oh,
point.
I fucking can't stand storylines where it's just like all of your problems could have been avoided if you just communicated.
Yeah, I mean, but
also,
that's
like,
how
there's
a
sometimes,
lot of
like
relationships are in real life.
Absolutely. Like sometimes you're like, oh, this is an uncomfortable piece of my history. I'm personally uncomfortable with it. And I don't want to tell this person because it's going to be a conversation that's hard. And I don't know how to have it with them, or I don't know the right time to bring it up with this person, which usually I've done that where I'm like, this is uncomfortable for me. And then I look at the situation. I'm like, I want to tell them this because I want to be fully honest, but how do I bring it up? And then they'll find out somehow before I figured out how to tell them. And
Right.
is that me lying? No, that's me trying to figure out how to not make this person I care about uncomfortable, but still be honest with them. And if the timing doesn't work out, then what are we going to do?
Right, and to be said, that doesn't break them up when she finds out.
No, it doesn't.
No, of course
Yeah.
not. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I don't relate to that situation because whenever I've had a thing where I need to talk to someone about that thing, I'm like, okay, either they'll find out from me and I can somewhat control the damage or at least face it head on, or they'll find out another way and it's going to be way worse.
Sure.
So I just talk. That's what
Yeah.
humans should do.
I
It's
agree.
true.
I agree, but not every human is
But not
wired that
everybody
way.
does that.
Especially,
I don't understand
especially
why not, though.
Well,
do you have you met a human?
like, have
We're
you
all
ever?
different.
I met
we're
a
all-
couple.
We're all different. We're all wired differently. We sometimes our anxiety gets in the way.
But it's problem solving. It's like, listen,
But
I
it's
know about
not.
anxiety.
Look, Aaron. One of the things, and this is, I think I'm going to just keep coming back to this, is like, yeah, like he knew it was a mistake. As soon as Lorelai figured it out, he knew it was a mistake. He knew he should have told her.
And he
But
tried. He tried to.
a couple of times, and it just didn't. It didn't work. It didn't happen. And at the same time, it's like I know you have to be able to look back at a time in your life when there was something difficult that you didn't know how to tell someone you cared about, not because you were trying to keep a secret from them, but because you didn't know how to tell them something bad about yourself.
Nope.
Wow.
Oh, you know what?
You're a
You know
really
what?
special
Hold
person.
on.
then.
I just remembered. That's not why he didn't tell her. He didn't tell her because Lorelai is such a cool parent that he
No,
knew-
that's why he didn't want her to meet her.
Oh.
She knew about April, and she was like, "When do I meet her?"
Oh no, I'm sorry. You're
Yeah.
correct.
He told Lorelai about her eventually. Like, she found out basically through Miss Patty, I think,
Yeah.
one of the other town's lovable characters.
Yeah.
The town's dance teacher.
Oh, yeah, and that's what that's why I wanted to get to with the advocating for yourself because once she finds out about April, Luke does not want them to meet because then she'd be like the super
She'd take
mom,
over a little bit.
All right, that I get.
And-
I can respect
And
that.
there
storyline.
is this like very like just like cringy, like you can tell that Lorelai is just
Dying.
miserable,
Mm-hmm.
like not being able to have a relationship with Luke's daughter because she loves Luke so much and wants to be a part of his life, his whole life. And there's all these episodes where she is really messing her up. And she's like really trying to figure out a way how to advocate for herself. And it feels very real.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because at first she's like, I want to respect his boundaries. This is a relationship where we respect each other. But then she slowly realizes, wait, I'm not being respected in this relationship.
And she fights for what she needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe I just haven't watched the
I think
episodes
you
I
might.
need to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think maybe it's just that you need to watch
Yeah, I
them in
feel so bad.
order.
I don't want to watch all of them though.
You don't have to watch all of them to understand what's so beautiful about the show. I think you could watch even the first 6 episodes maybe and really maybe we should have just said episodes 1 through 6 and those are the ones
Even
that
though
you
the
should
later
listen
episodes
to.
are the ones I like more.
Yeah, because I think maybe, Scene in a Mall, like that's an Emily thing, but I think those poignant moments where you really feel for those characters are what gets you, what engages you with the show is caring. And that's what engages you about any good show, I find, is that the characters are people that you connect with.
Okay. Can I watch it while I'm folding laundry?
Yes, you
Yes,
absolutely can. I
absolutely.
definitely do.
It's
All right,
so
so maybe I'll do
text based
that.
that you don't have to have your eyes glued to the screen the whole time.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because like I definitely there were times I had to be playing Marvel Strike Force on my phone to get through.
No,
some
it's
episodes.
fine. It's fine.
All right, so if we
You're
started
forgiven.
with me, don't need it, but I'll take it.
Sure.
If we start with me at a -6, I gave it a lot of episodes. I gave it like 6 episodes.
You did.
But it's a long running show. Lauren Graham's always great. She doesn't falter even once.
And Kelly Bishop.
Oh,
we didn't
Kelly
even talk
Bishop, we
about
didn't.
her.
Who's she
And
playing?
Edward
Emily.
Herman. I mean,
Like, yeah, the parents are great. Lane's great. All right.
you mean the actors are great. You don't mean that
Yes.
you love those characters.
The actor? I don't really give a shit about Lane, but the
What?
actor was great.
Oh, see,
Towards the later seasons of Lane, I liked more where
she
she was
has
less
such an arc.
self-centered
Yeah.
and more of just being her own person. I thought that was cool.
But see what you're saying? I'm just going to point that out. In the later seasons, you like her because she's less self-centered. She's grown.
she has the
grown
biggest
from-
growth in the
I
show.
do like character growth. Okay, so all right, we start out with me at a -6. Sounds like I didn't
I think that might be
didn't
on
go on
our,
the full journey.
And that's our fault. That's,
Yeah.
that's our
I'm-
B.
That's RB.
I'm not ambivalent like I was before I started watching
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a little on edge about it.
Mhm.
So, but I can see where I didn't give it all. -3.
Copy.
Not bad.
Okay.
Not
We
bad.
brought him
I
back
was
to
at
a negative
-2, then I became -6, -3.
I
Okay.
will accept that.
I
Yeah.
accept that as long
Progress
as there was
made.
progress.
Progress was made.
Do you think that you'll go back and watch episodes maybe 1 through 6? You don't even have to watch the first episode. It's just episodes 2 through 5.
yeah.
Scene 1.
You already got 1/6 of your assignment
That is a
done.
possibility
Okay.
for a lazy weekend. I got to go home do laundry.
Hey,
I
we
think
all
I might
have
bounce
laundry.
between that and if you're listening out of order, sorry, Cheers. I really dig Cheers now.
What made you dig Cheers?
Funnier than this. Anyway, Taylor, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, so my show, You're the Pest, is out and coming out on YouTube Wednesdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram is at You're the Pest Series, and Twitter is at You're the Pest. You can also follow me at Freckly Soprano 1 on Twitter and Instagram.
Also, to speak to You're the Pest. This
Aaron
is something
Sennett.
that you wrote and directed and produced. And
I did not direct.
not direct, but wrote and produced.
Yes, I co-wrote. I co-wrote with my friend Jasmine Romero. She's dope.
I show up in episode
5.
5 and 6.
And 7.
And 7. It is one of the most favorite characters I've ever played.
Thank you.
It is so fun to play this character. I had a blast doing it. I do highly recommend people check out this web series. It's very, very well
Thanks,
done.
Aaron. That
I'll
means
be
a
sure to
lot
check it
coming
out.
from you.
Yeah, no, the pilot is tight as hell.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
And by the
Nice.
time this comes out, episode 3 will be out.
So just
Boom,
tune
boom.
in another 2 weeks and I'll be there.
keep
Anyway,
going.
Kyra Sims.
When does this episode come out?
This episode's coming out Thursday.
This
This
Thursday?
week? This coming Thursday.
Yes.
This Thursday. Hey, Thursday fans out there. Tomorrow, you can come to the Crane Theater on 85 East 4th Street. You can see me in The Infinite Wrench. It's a show that the New York Neurofuturists do every Friday and Saturday night in the East Village. We try to do 30 plays in 60 minutes.
Boom, boom.
The audience decides what order we do the plays, and it's like chaos with a lot of also real and funny stuff. You can also follow us at NY Neofuturists on Instagram and Twitter. I run the Twitter account, so if you tweet at me, I'll give you a little wink emoji, maybe retweet you. You can also just follow my personal handle at Lily Mischief. That's Lily like the flower, and Mischief like what a scamp does.
And only because we're pressed for time, I'm going to say, I'm going to do this all Gilmore Girls style. You're not alone on an uplifting show about depression. Next one show is Monday, June 4th at 10:30 p.m. at the Magnet Theater. Go to magnettheater.com for classes and shows and improv sketch and all that other great stuff. I also host the Mixer every Thursday night. Go there at 6 p.m. Or 5:30 and sign up. Do improv with other people. It's totally free. You'll love it. You can follow me at Hey, it's Aaron Gold on Twitter and Instagram. You can also follow this podcast at don'tmindpodcast@gmail.com is where you can email it, but also just Don't Mind Podcast is the screen names. Thank you all so much. Keep on minding.